There are love stories that follow the rules. Boy meets girl at the right place, right time, right social class. Then there are love stories that shatter every expectation, where a billionaire's penthouse becomes the setting for something his family never imagined possible. This is one of those stories. And it begins not with romance, but with desperation. This is Robert Harrison, 52 years old, CEO of Harrison Tech Industries. Net worth $4 billion, widower. Father to a 9-year-old son who hasn't spoken in 3 years. And the man who fell in love with the one person his family said was absolutely forbidden. Her name was Elena Cruz. She was his son's nanny. Before we go further, like this video if you believe love knows no boundaries. Stay until the end because what happens in this story will challenge everything you think about wealth, class, and family. And drop Pinoy in the comments if you're proud of Filipino caregivers worldwide who change lives every single day. Robert's world was built on control. Harrison Tech controlled 60% of global cloud infrastructure. His Manhattan penthouse controlled 50 floors of prime real estate. His schedule controlled every minute from 5 a.m. to midnight. But there was one thing Robert couldn't control: his son's silence. And it was destroying him. The boy's name was Daniel, 9 years old. He'd stopped speaking the day his mother died in a car accident 3 years earlier. Therapists, specialists, child psychologists, Robert had hired them all. Millions spent, no words. Daniel existed in complete silence, and Robert was watching his son disappear into a grief he couldn't reach. Robert's mother, Catherine Harrison, ran the household. Old money, old rules. She'd raised Robert to believe their family's legacy mattered more than individual happiness. When Robert mentioned hiring a nanny, Catherine had one requirement: someone who understood their world, someone appropriate, someone who wouldn't challenge the Harrison family order, someone absolutely not Filipino. Elena Cruz stepped off the elevator into the Harrison penthouse on a Tuesday morning in September. 28 years old, from Bulacan, Philippines. Nursing degree from Far Eastern University. 5 years as a pediatric nurse in Manila before moving to New York. Her agency had sent her profile. Robert's mother had rejected it twice. But Robert's assistant had called Elena directly, bypassing Catherine entirely. The interview was brief. Robert asked one question: "Can you help a child who won't speak?" Elena looked at the file, looked at Robert, and said something that made him hire her on the spot. "Children speak in many ways. I just need to learn his language." Catherine confronted Robert that evening. "A nanny from the Philippines? Robert, we have standards. What will people think?" Robert's response was colder than his mother had ever heard. "People can think what they want. Daniel needs help. Elena starts Monday." It was the first time in 40 years Robert had overruled his mother. It wouldn't be the last. Elena's first day began at 7 a.m. Daniel sat at the breakfast table, silent, pushing scrambled eggs around his plate. Elena didn't try to make him talk. She didn't ask questions. She sat down, took out a small notebook, and started drawing. Not professionally, just simple sketches. A dog, a house, a tree. Daniel watched. On day 3, Daniel pointed at Elena's drawing of a bird. She smiled, tore out the page, handed it to him. He took it to his room. On day 7, Daniel left his own drawing on her desk, a stick figure of a woman with black hair, Elena. She kept it in her notebook. Robert, watching from his office, saw something he hadn't seen in 3 years: his son engaged. Week 2, Elena introduced Daniel to Filipino games, patintero, pico, games that didn't require words, just movement and laughter. Catherine walked past the playroom one afternoon, saw Daniel jumping on chalk lines Elena had drawn, and nearly fainted. "This is inappropriate," she told Robert. "This is working," Robert replied. "Don't interfere." Catherine's lips tightened. She'd never liked being told no. Robert started coming home earlier, not to check on Daniel, to watch Elena work. She had this way of moving through the penthouse like she belonged there, not as staff, but as someone who understood the space differently. She rearranged Daniel's room to let in more light, played Filipino lullabies at bedtime, cooked adobo for dinner. Daniel ate everything. One evening, Robert found Elena on the penthouse balcony after Daniel had gone to bed. She was looking at the city, and for the first time, Robert saw her not as his employee, but as a woman who'd left everything familiar to work in a foreign country. "Do you miss home?" he asked. Elena nodded. "Every day. but some things are worth missing home for. They started talking after Daniel's bedtime. First about Daniel's progress, then about Elena's family in Bulacan, her father who'd passed away, her mother who ran a sorry store. Robert found himself staying up past midnight, something he never did. Catherine noticed. "You're spending too much time with the nanny," she warned. Robert didn't respond. He knew she was right. He didn't care. 3 months after Elena started, Daniel spoke. Not to Robert, not to his therapists, to Elena. She'd made him pan-sit for lunch, and as she set the plate down, Daniel looked up and said 2 words, "Thank you." Elena froze. Daniel smiled. Robert, who'd been working in the next room, heard it through the doorway and broke down crying. That night, Robert took Elena to dinner, not at the penthouse, at a small restaurant in Brooklyn where nobody would recognize them. He told her she'd given him back his son. Elena said Daniel had always been there. He just needed to feel safe again. Robert reached across the table, took her hand, and said something he'd never said to anyone. "You've given me back myself, too." The kiss happened in the car. Robert drove her home to her small apartment in Queens. When he pulled up, neither of them moved. Elena said, "This is complicated." Robert said, "I know." She said, "Your family will never accept this." He said, "I know." She said, "I should go inside." He said, "I know." She kissed him anyway. It changed everything. For 2 months, they kept it secret. Robert would work late. Elena would finish Daniel's bedtime routine, then meet Robert at her apartment. They'd cook together. She taught him adobo. He taught her nothing because he couldn't cook. They'd talk until 2 a.m. He'd drive back to Manhattan before sunrise. Daniel never knew. Catherine suspected everything. Catherine hired a private investigator in December. The report came back with photos. Robert leaving Elena's apartment at 4 a.m. Robert and Elena at a bookstore in Brooklyn. Robert and Elena holding hands on a bench in Prospect Park. Catherine called a family meeting. Robert's brother James, Robert's sister Patricia, the family lawyer. Everyone except Robert. This required intervention. Catherine confronted Robert in his office on a Monday morning. She placed the photos on his desk. "This ends today," she said. "Fire her, pay her whatever she wants. But this ends." Robert looked at the photos, looked at his mother, and said 6 words that severed 40 years of control. "I'm in love with her, Mother." The family meeting happened that evening. Catherine, James, Patricia, the lawyer. They presented Robert with an ultimatum. End it with Elena, or the family would remove him as CEO. James would take over Harrison Tech. Robert would lose board control. They had the votes. Robert listened to everything, then stood up and said, "Do it. I choose Elena." Catherine couldn't believe it. "You're choosing a nanny over your family legacy." Robert's response was quiet but final. "I'm choosing the woman who taught my son to speak again. I'm choosing the woman who makes me want to be better. You taught me family legacy matters most. You were wrong. Daniel matters most. Elena matters most. This ends now." Robert resigned as CEO the next day. James took over. The business media exploded with speculation. Robert Harrison, billionaire tech mogul, walks away from empire for mysterious reasons. Nobody knew about Elena yet. Robert wanted to tell her first. He drove to her apartment that night with a question he'd been rehearsing for weeks. "Will you marry me?" Elena said no. Robert was stunned. She explained, "I can't be the reason you lose everything. Your family, your company, your mother. I won't let you sacrifice your life for me. I care about you too much." Robert told her he'd already lost what mattered when his wife died. Elena and Daniel had given it back. "I'm not sacrificing anything. I'm choosing everything." Elena asked for time to think. Robert gave her 3 days. During those 3 days, something unexpected happened. Daniel, who now spoke regularly, asked his grandmother a question. "Why is Daddy sad?" Catherine, caught off guard, asked what he meant. Daniel said, "He's sad like before Mama died. Did someone take Elena away?" Catherine realized the child knew, and loved Elena too. Catherine Harrison did something she'd never done in 74 years. She went to Queens. She knocked on Elena's apartment door. Elena opened it, shocked to see Catherine standing there. Catherine asked to come in. They sat at Elena's small kitchen table. Catherine said 5 words. Tell me about my grandson. Elena talked for 3 hours. Catherine listened, really listened. What Catherine learned that night changed everything. Elena described Daniel's nightmares, his slow trust, his first smile in 3 years. She talked about Robert's guilt over his wife's death, his fear of losing Daniel, his loneliness. Catherine saw what she'd refused to see. Elena hadn't stolen her son. Elena had saved him, and maybe saved Daniel too. Catherine asked, "Do you love them both?" Elena's answer was simple. "With everything I am." Catherine stood, walked to the door, turned back. "My son proposed to you?" Elena nodded. Catherine said, "If you say yes, you'll face scrutiny, judgment. People will say terrible things. Our world doesn't accept this easily." Elena met her eyes. "Your world doesn't, but Daniel's world does, and Robert's world does. That's enough for me." Elena called Robert that night. She said yes. Robert cried on the phone, the second time Elena had heard him cry. The first was when Daniel spoke. They were married 2 months later. Small ceremony, City Hall. Daniel was the ring bearer. Catherine attended. James and Patricia did not. The media went insane. "Billionaire marries son's nanny." Headlines ran for weeks. The Harrison family split. James and Patricia sided with old money rules. Catherine shocked everyone by siding with Robert. She released a public statement. "My son chose love over legacy. I chose my grandson's happiness over my pride. I suggest we all remember what family actually means." The business world didn't know how to respond. Catherine didn't care. Robert didn't return to Harrison Tech. Instead, he started a foundation with Elena, the Cruz Harrison Foundation for Children's Mental Health. They hired therapists, funded research, opened free clinics in underserved communities. Elena ran programs teaching caregivers the techniques she'd used with Daniel. The foundation grew faster than Harrison Tech ever had. Robert had never been happier or prouder. 2 years later, Daniel spoke at his school's assembly about grief and healing. He talked about his mother's death, his silence, the woman who taught him to speak again through patience and adobo. Teachers cried. Parents cried. When Daniel finished, he said, "Elena didn't just become my nanny, she became my mom." Elena, in the audience, cried hardest of all. Today, Elena and Robert live in Brooklyn. Not a penthouse, a brownstone. Daniel attends public school. Catherine visits every Sunday for dinner. She's learned to cook adobo. The tabloids lost interest years ago. Robert's siblings still don't speak to him. He doesn't mind. He has what matters: a son who laughs, a wife who challenges him, and a mother who finally learned that love doesn't follow rules. It makes them. This story isn't about a billionaire rescuing a nanny. It's about a caregiver saving a broken family, one quiet moment at a time. Filipino caregivers worldwide do this every day, healing children, supporting families, loving beyond boundaries. They don't make headlines, they don't get recognition, but they change lives. Elena changed 3, a silent boy, a lonely man, and a mother who thought legacy mattered more than love. Sometimes, the most profound wealth isn't measured in billions. It's measured in the courage to choose what heals you, even when the world says you shouldn't. And that's the real story of Robert Harrison and Elena Cruz, the billionaire who found everything by giving up his empire, and the nanny from Bulacan who taught him that home isn't a place, it's the people who make you whole.